What's up, guys? My name is Brian Bafford, and this is Liam Marcelino.
How you doing?
This is Car Interviews, CIC. We are your two hosts, and right back here is our filmer slash editor slash tech guy.
Creative director.
Yeah.
Name's Dylan Hostetter. Everyone calls me Ging, G-I-N-G. Got red hair. Started a long time ago.
In this YouTube channel, we're going to be starting to interview different people about their cars, in their cars, all about it, how they got into cars, and what their future holds with their car. It's mostly going to be generalized stance. We're based out of Westminster, Maryland, so we're going to start off with our buddies and go from there, see if we can get anybody outside of who we know.
Yeah, and it's basically, from the third party perspective, it'll be like kind of like the show Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee mixed with Jay Leno's Garage. That's like just a brief synopsis, like the best way to put it. Like, we'll do stuff about the car, and then we'll actually get in the car and drive it, and talk to the owner and everything, and have them with us. But definitely keep it light, and like we said, we'll be starting with people that we know personally and moving from there. But kicking things off, we'll probably do our two cars first, and then we'll have the man behind the camera sitting behind me, get some different shots of it, and kind of keep it cinematic, but at the same time brief enough to the point where it's not super drawn out and redundant, if that makes any sense.
Keep it interesting and fresh, something you guys would be interested in watching and wanting to share with your friends to make this grow, and even get you guys on here if it's in a reasonable distance.
Yeah, and we don't want to keep it to one genre of vehicle, so we're going to branch out, talk to different people, have our friends recommend their friends, and blah, 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 and we'll see if we can get a wide variety of people in cars, just so that way, it stays light and it can kind of tend to everybody's personal preference on vehicle.
With this idea, we're trying to be unique. We haven't yet really seen anybody do this on YouTube, so I thought, this would be a good idea to people's interests and just keep it fresh.
Yeah, it's kind of like a melting pot of different ideas, just because, there's countless channels that do reviews on people's cars without them, and they just review whatever their build is or what they've been doing with it. And then obviously Hoonigan being a big outlet for all that stuff, and having wide varieties of different cars come through to their place and do their thing. But this is actually an idea that Brian came up with. He's had this idea for a little bit now, but it was just a matter of setting everything up and kind of taking charge to do it, and figuring out who we want to have on the show and how we want to run everything. But we're going to definitely do our two cars first and kind of give a good example for what it'll be. And like we said, if there's anybody that's within a reasonable distance as of right now to where we are, definitely open to recommendation, and we'd like to see a lot of different things come from this. Definitely want to see meet a lot of different people, and kind of take this platform and go interesting direction with it.
Now, how'd you get into cars?
I got into it, I was always kind of surrounded by it. My dad was into cars growing up. He wasn't handed a lot in life, so he kind of just figured out what he had an interest in, and cars was one of those things, and he took it and ran with it. And that man knows just about everything that I don't. So once I got my first car, I started to get into it. I thought I knew everything, and then turns out I knew nothing. And even now, there's still so much that I have to learn. But I pretty much bought a stock car and then just went from there. Just buying parts, no instructions, just either watching a YouTube video on it or just diving straight into it and trying to figure out what I was doing. And that snowballed into me helping out other people with small things that I knew at the time, and now it's been about 4 years that I've been doing it for not only myself but everybody else that I can help, and I've definitely learned a good bit in that time period. But there's always more to learn with it, and you know, things have kind of slowed down with my vehicle at the moment. I've had it, like I said, for 4 years now, so this was definitely a good way to kind of branch back into it and keep an interest with everything going on, and you know, be able to help other people and talk about other cars and whatnot, and, you know, keep a fresh mind on it.
Now, you have been in the car scene for a while, so what is the future for you, do you think? You gonna stick with the RSX, try to...
I may stick with it. I currently drive a 2002 Acura RSX, and I bought it with 86,000 miles, and I just crossed over 178,000 miles. So I've doubled the lifetime on it in the time that I've owned it. And I mean, it's an 18-year-old car. It's been my daily driver forever. And I think with the money that I'm making now, and you know, the way that I have my job set up and everything, I could essentially keep it and kind of get back into it. And if something really ends up going well and I have the means and the funds to do so, I'll just keep it and park it and kind of rebuild it from the ground up and see what I can do with it. But that's to be determined. And you know, if something else changes or something doesn't go the way that I want it to, I'll most likely get something else that I'm going to put money into, more than likely.
What would you want to get if you could get something else? In a reasonable fashion, obviously.
Yeah. I wish I could say I'll get back to that, but I don't know what I'm gonna make this year, money-wise. So, yeah, I mean, you know, there was a good bit of time where I was interested in buying a Ford Flex just because it would be great for our friend group and myself, because they do get good gas mileage. They have a twin turbo model, and I know the aftermarket like catalog of parts for that thing it's not bad. They do make a lot of different aftermarket parts for it, and it would be something fun to drive, and I could, you know, haul everybody around and also haul anything else around that I need to. But I was looking at those for a while. 350s have always had my eye, which is a weird thing, but I don't know. I mean, there's a couple cars that, you know, once I think about it, I'm like, oh, that would be fun to own, and, you know, be a really good platform to dump money into. But at the moment, just living with what I got and enjoying it as much as I can while I still have it. And I already know the story about how you got in the car scene, but elaborate.
I am fresh into the car scene. I'm a little bit new. I have a 2011 Volkswagen GTI Mark 6. The reason why I have this car is I grew up with my dad, where all he had was GTIs. Every GTI model that you could think of.
Hey, didn't he have like 7 of them?
Yeah. About 7, I believe. And so just growing up watching him and seeing that he wasn't just buying these cars because they were nice cars, he was doing stuff to them and like made them look cool.
Yeah.
He's not into stance as much as I am. Like, he was more of like a rally look.
Yeah, like an OEM guy.
Yeah, like a racing seats, like all like the yeah. He wasn't into like too much cosmetics, but you know, I'm getting there with that. I'm in the middle of my build right now. I have a couple things left to do, but yeah, so far, I mean, I met Liam about 4 or 5 years ago now, and back then,
So long. That's crazy.
Back then, him and our buddies, they were all like in the middle of their prime, you'd say.
Yeah, I was pretty fresh into it and dumping every paycheck into it. But at the time, I mean, I wasn't in school. I'm not anymore, but wasn't in school. I'd like just gotten out of high school and everything, and I was just working some job that like barely paid me. And it was just something to do. It was, you know, I would say it kept me out of trouble, but it definitely didn't. But it kept me out of trouble in a good way. So, you know, and dumping money into a car isn't always the best thing, but at the same time, it's a good practice if you have the interest to it, and it really did. It did keep my brain fresh. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I showed myself I was able to learn and kind of take note from, and it also made me a bit of a better driver because I definitely cared a lot more. Yeah, just keep going straight. But I think that goes for anybody. I mean, people start to put money into something you kind of care about a little bit more, and it's a good way to be. But I also can understand the other side of it, where people are like, "Why would you put money into that?" So
yeah. So as much as I was already into cars for my dad, I met Liam and our buddies, and went down to H2O, Ocean City, and just fell in love with the life of building a car that explains your lifestyle and your personality.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be unique with my build because I do know that a lot of people do have GTIs, but I think with my little touch to it, it'll explain what I like to do and how I am as a person.
Yeah, and he got into it at a good time just because we all kind of have the knowledge of what to do and what not to do in certain situations, and what parts are going to be good and what parts are going to fail in less than 2 months. So he definitely got into it at a good time, and I will definitely keep helping you out, I think, as much as I can. And I think that goes for everybody.
So, Ging, you don't have a car that you build, but how do you get into wanting to take pictures of cars and film and stuff?
So I drive a 05 Subaru Outback manual 5-speed. So it's not a complete piece of shit, but it is what it is. I actually would build it if I had if I was able to, I would. And I think I would probably make it a pretty cool, because not a lot of people do that body style of Outback, and maybe they stick to Foresters and Legacies. So I think that would be cool, but right now I don't have the ability to do that. But I was interested in making films and the whole creative process and filming and all that for probably 3 years now. And then I was introduced to Liam. The same day I was introduced to Liam was the same day I was introduced to H2OI in Ocean City, Maryland.
Really? Is that where we met?
Well, no, we didn't meet there, but you came to Colton's, and we watched like 2 or 3 years of H2O videos.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. I remember that. Okay.
And that might have been the second time I met Liam, but that's kind of what I was like, oh shit, this is cool, because at that time my best friend Colton, and all of our best friend Colton had an RSX as well.
That was actually how I met Colton.
Yeah. So I was like, this could be something. I know these guys are into cars, and at that point I had met the friend group that I have now due to Colton and Liam, which has just changed me as a person. Some would say for the better, others would say for the worse, but that is what it is. I'm happy with where I am, but other people are just whatever.
Yeah. That's all that matters.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've just started recently. I got extremely lucky and blessed to have a huge plethora of camera gear dumped onto me that I can begin to start making films, and I've started to do some work for our friends, and I've branched out and talked to other people about working for them and trying to get out of my comfort zone. And excuse me, I think it's going somewhere. But I think I can bring a different creative process to this and show some more cinematics other than just sitting in a car filming, talking about cars, which is going to be what the main purpose of this is. But if we can add some spice to it, I think it would really help out.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I was never parentally brought up from a car background. It was always outside people. Like one of my best friends who I met at a very young age, his father is extremely passionate about cars and builds and has some really cool cars.
Yeah.
And then I met Colton and Liam, and they showed me the stand side and the tunes, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And since then I've done my own research, figured out what I like, what I don't like, and wish I had some cooler cars, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's all a timing thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I came up from the drag racing scene that was how I ended up getting into it. As a kid, I went to all the NHRA events, and my dad, being like an American muscle car, like classic kind of guy, it was pretty interesting to see that there was a completely different side of it, because all I knew growing up was like American stuff, and my dad talking about what he owned back in the day, and where he used to race and everything. And then from there, once I got into the whole automotive thing, I kind of figured out, like, okay, this is something a little bit more my speed. This is cool that there's a completely different side to it, and I just took it and ran with it and learned from it. And I think that's pretty generic on how it goes for most people. I know there definitely is a couple people that have a different, like a really oddball story that, they're like, yeah, I didn't know what I was doing, and then all of a sudden I had some ridiculous build that I just occasionally put money into. But that's, everybody's got their background to it, and I think it's really interesting to see where the community comes from, just because some people, it's different for everybody.
With these next couple of episodes, it's all going to be different cars, fresh, new, like whatever you're into, German, like even American muscle cars. We have buddies, a ton of buddies that have different aspects of the car scene.
Yeah, everything across the board.
So we're going to try our best to schedule smart.
Yeah, so that way we're not stepping on our own toes or anything, and we're not, running too late or behind schedule. But I don't think at the moment we're going to have any, like, repeats of cars, because I think everybody that we have lined up has a different vehicle from one another. Especially now that Colton has the Mazda. So, yeah. And we'll have to figure out something with Pete's car, because
That's a weird situation.
yeah, so, actually, who has that list?
Brian does.
Let's see it real quick. Give a brief preview of what we'll have here. So, I'll read off like the first 10. So the first 10 that we plan on having will be a 2011 Subaru WRX. We have Ging's 05 Outback, 2011 Saab 9.3, an E36. What year's Colton's car? 2012.
No, wait.
2008 Mazda Speed 3.
I always do the same thing though.
2016 Mustang 5.0 Mark IV Jetta VR6. 1973 Volkswagen thing with a rotary in it.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a great episode.
Whatever MJ owns at the time, because I think he just bought another car.
Yeah.
We do have another GTI though, and another Mustang. Nick Burek and Brian Farrar.
Those will be seasonal episodes.
Yeah. So we have an Evo 8 that used to make 914 horsepower.
And it's on the road back to.
It's gonna make like 850, I think, by the summer.
It's impressive.
We got a Miata. We got a 2004 WRX. I think it's what your Sandy's is. Yeah, but I mean, we got a good genre of it, and I think the Mustangs. I'm nervous about the Mustang episode, the first one. That's gonna be interesting, but
Yeah.
nevertheless, we have a good variety of people right now that we'll be touching base with and getting something moving with. But
Get Josh to do one of his Lamborghinis.
that would be very interesting.
Or the Viper.
Yeah. Or the Porsche. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we got a good outlet.
Those would be really cool.
Yeah, it'd be terrifying, but yeah.
We should do one of the Mustangs for a 4th of July episode.
Josh's.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. I don't think we'd see.
Yeah. But nonetheless, not to keep going on with this about who we are and what we do, but welcome, I'd say. So this is just kind of a basis episode talking about who we are, where we came from, and what to expect over the next however long this may go on for. So
Ideally, we're going to try to get out videos weekly.
yeah.
If not, every other week.
Yeah, and I mean, who knows? Maybe we can push it to twice a week.
Yeah. If we get more and more people, if you guys watching this video right now, we will have an email set up
Yeah.
for any recommendations.
Yeah. We'll have an Instagram. We'll have a Twitter. And that'll all be down below. What is up with people doing this shit? But tell your friends, tell your friends' friends, tell your parents, and your parents' friends. And by the time this video comes out, I think we'll have a pretty good idea of our schedule, or what we're going to be shooting for as a schedule. And now that the weather's kind of turning around out of nowhere, it's actually really nice out today, and it's been nice lately. I think we should be able to get a pretty set schedule, and fingers crossed that we can make it a little bit more frequent. You know, we can make it more frequent and have more people on sooner than we hope. Is there anything else?
Grab a seat, get comfy, enjoy the ride. We're gonna try to make this the best we can. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it.
Yeah.
A lot, hopefully.
Yeah. I know we definitely will enjoy it. So yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peace.